Hey everybody, this is Mr. Moblin coming at you with another APGov video. Today we're taking a look at topic 5.3, political parties. Now, when we are talking about political parties are a great example of what we would call a linkage institution. A linkage institution is something that connects people to governments, okay? Just like, tendons connect, muscle to bone in the human body, linkage institutions are the things that connect us to what's happening in government. Now, political parties are not the only linkage institutions that exist out there. For example, the media is another classic example of a linkage institution, but political parties obviously serve that play that same role. Now, what is the job of a political party? What are they intended to do? What's their goal at the end of the day? And it's very simple: to win. Those that know the history of the NFL very well, the now currently Las Vegas Raiders, when they were back in Oakland many decades ago, they used to have an owner by the name of Al Davis, and he was famous for kind of defining the mantra of what it meant to be a Oakland Raider back in the 1970s, and his famous quote was, "Just win, baby." And that's really what it is with political parties. It's about winning. Whatever it takes, legally, of course, ethically, to win, that's what it's all about. And when I say win, I mean win elections. That's what they're all about at the end of the day, winning elections. Now, what does it take to win an election? Well, parties do the things that need to be done to win those elections, all right? So, for example, they will find candidates that are going to be popular enough to win. They will organize policy goals and platforms and, follow certain, ideology that is popular to help them win elections. When we talk about, the major political parties historically in the United States, the Democrats and Republicans, there's a reason why they've been around for so long. The Democrats have been around now for, about 190 years, and the Republicans for about 170 years, respectively. In essence, they're kind of like the Coke and Pepsi of the major political parties. And, the reason that these political parties have such multi-generational staying power is because they know what it takes to win. They know what they have to do. They know how to evolve. They know how to adapt. They know how to be where the people are in order to win elections. If they couldn't do that, then they wouldn't be around anymore. So keep that always in the back of your mind. What are political parties all about at the end of the day? Winning elections and doing all the things that it takes to win an election. Okay. Now, with that being said, when we talk about political parties, folks will commonly say, "I'm a Democrat" or "I'm a Republican," and yeah, you can say that, though generally when people are saying that, they're really probably more talking about ideology, maybe meaning that they're liberal if they say they're a Democrat, or conservative if they say that they are a Republican. But nonetheless, when we talk about, identifying as a party member, which people commonly do, keep in mind that there is no test to be a true Democrat. There's no test to be a true Republican. There's no dues that you have to pay. There's no pledge period. There's no, training to become a Democrat or a Republican. You are a Democrat or Republican or any member of any party, Libertarian, Green, whatever, simply if you say that you are. That's all that it is. You are a member of a party if you self-identify as a member of said party. That is all that it takes. Now, that being said, of those folks that identify as, being a member of a party, Democrat, Republican, etc., the vast majority of those folks that identify as being a part of a political party, they do virtually nothing directly aiding the party other than typically voting. Now if you want to define, keeping up with the news and keeping up with current events and being knowledgeable about policy is something helpful to parties, okay, fine, people do that as well. But, aside from that, the only thing that the vast majority of folks that identify with a party is that they vote. So when we talk about active party members, we're talking about the folks that do more than just vote on election day as a basis of supporting their political party. So the next question is, well, what do these active members do? What do folks that play more of an active role in a particular political party, what do they do to help their political party achieve their political goals? And it comes in many different ways. For example, you'll have a lot of political party volunteers that will engage in voter registration drives, and it kind of makes sense. If you're in the business of winning elections, that means that you have to get the most votes. And if there's more voters available that you register, and with the assumption that you're registering voters that are going to have values in line with your party's values, that's going to be advantageous to you on election day. So you got folks that will volunteer to do that. You've got folks that will volunteer to canvass on behalf of candidates for that political party. What it means to canvass is to go out there and directly, communicate with the public, trying to bring support to that party's candidate. So that might be something like knocking on people's doors. It might be making phone calls, but you're trying to directly connect and communicate with prospective voters to help educate them as to why it's in their best interest, why they would want to vote for their party's candidates as opposed to another party's candidate. So that's canvassing. Once again, that is almost always done by volunteers. Note also, though, that members of political parties are always trying to have their fingers on the pulse of what the public at large wants in terms of what are the policy goals. In other words, what are the priorities of the public. For right now, I think you can clearly see that for the Republican Party, border security is a very, very important issue to prioritize. And so the Republican Party, if you watch ads and listen to candidates that are running for Congress and running for president, things like that, you see those candidates really bringing up the border as an issue, that the border needs to be strengthened, the border needs to be more protected, the border needs to be better funded in terms of security, all that kind of stuff, because members of the party realize, active members of the party realize that's what their prospective voters are going to want taken care of. On the Democrat side, right now it might be something like abortion rights. Since Roe v. Wade being overturned, many active Democrats are going to try to mobilize potential Democratic voters running for Congress, running for president. You'll hear once again those candidates, bringing up on the Democrat side, concerns about, the Supreme Court has already overturned Roe v. Wade. We now have to, on a federal basis, on a state-by-state basis, protect the rights of women to have, reproductive freedom, yada, yada, yada. So what these parties represent is going to be, so that's what, the active party members are going to be trying to do, is try to make sure that that the parties are in line with what the public wants, because that's what's going to motivate them on election day. Something else that's going to be significant with regards to what these parties are going to active members are trying to do, is to recruit quality candidates to run for elected office. Now, it's nice to think that in a democracy, in a republic like ours, that anybody could be a good, viable candidate for office, but that unfortunately is not really the reality. There are certain qualities that you want in a candidate beyond just the idea of that they're competent and or experienced and relate well to the public and all that kind of stuff. There's also some other factors that parties honestly look for. For example, wealthier candidates are more attractive to political parties, in part because they can bring part of their own money to the table. Parties are always strapped for cash. They're always having to fundraise for their candidates. A wealthier candidate can fund more of their own campaign and be less of a financial burden to the parties themselves. Wealth and fame, tend to kind of go together to some degree. And the more famous, more well-known a candidate already is. Now, granted, most of the time a candidate or a potential candidate will be well-known because of probably some degree of political governing experience, but it doesn't have to be. Especially in recent decades, you can be famous for all sorts of different things and, be a potential quality candidate for office. I mean, think about it, on the Republican side, you've had Arnold Schwarzenegger, a world-famous action movie star, be a very strong candidate to win the governorship of California. Donald Trump, who had never, also like Schwarzenegger, had never held elected office before, was a well-known public figure for his wealth and being on television with The Apprentice and things like that, that made him a much more attractive candidate than maybe some others, maybe with even much more governing experience. Also, we have to be mindful of the fact that when we do run for office, when we have candidates run for office, they're running in a digital televised world. So you do need to be telegenic. You do need to look good on television. You do need to speak well. You do have to be camera ready, so to speak. Image matters. How you carry yourself does matter historically. Once again, yeah, experience running for office is always a plus. That's always beneficial. Now, if you're running for something like maybe House, U.S. House, or a mayor's position, maybe not as much political experience is needed. But something else that's very important is, you're trying to find candidates that are as scandal-free as possible. That's going to be something. Any kind of a major scandal can totally derail what a political party is trying to achieve. You might have a fantastic candidate, but they've got some skeletons in the closet, and then they get brought out during a campaign, and that blows up what your party's trying to do. And at the end of the day, even if they don't have much of their own money, and no, you don't have to. I mean, there's many presidential candidates that have been very successful without a lot of money of their own. Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, just to name a couple. But can you raise money? Can you get people with money to donate it to the party and donate it to the campaigns of these candidates? Those are those are very attractive candidates as well. Now, something else to be mindful of is the crafting of the party platforms. A platform, just in general, is something that you stand upon. Well, with regards to political parties, a platform are the values, the stances on issues that your party stands on. Each major political party will formally craft their own written platform. Now, it's not law or anything like that, they're not bylaws for the party, but it's an official document that is crafted to let people know that that's what this party stands on. This is what their party's values are. This is what they believe in. This is what they support. This is what they want to see happening. Now, for the major parties, the Democrats and Republicans, these official party platforms are crafted at the National Convention, which takes place every 4 years. Now, it doesn't get nearly the hoopla as the nominations for the president, vice president, and the various speeches that are delivered on the floor of the convention. This is going on behind closed doors, but still very, very important. Now, note, when we are talking about these major party platforms that are being crafted, if you are a major popular candidate for office within that party, especially for example, running for president, you're going to have potentially a significant influence on what that party platform is going to be. A great example is Donald Trump in recent years. He has been able to shift that Republican Party platform from being not as traditionally conservative, but more populist in many respects. For example, the Republican Party, having been known historically as the party of free trade and profits and things like that, to now more of a willingness to endorse the idea of having higher tariffs on foreign products in the name of protecting American jobs, as opposed to free trade and more of a globalist kind of an economy. So major party candidates can move and force a change in the party platform. At the same time, though, when crafting the platform, parties have to not be radical, but always evolve at the same time. You have to make sure that you hold on to your traditional base of support. So if you're the Democrats and you're traditionally liberal, you can't just go conservative the next election cycle and expect to keep most of your supporters. That's not going to happen. But at the same time, though, you have to continually evolve and move in the direction, a little bit here, a little bit there, on whatever the issues are, wherever the public is, to continue to try to attract more voters. And that can be a very difficult balancing act. At the end of the day, you're trying to get more votes for your candidates than the other party's candidates. And a little bit of too much of a shift in one direction or on certain issue or issues, that can make the difference between winning on election night and losing on election night. So that's going to be very significant. All right, so we'll leave it there for right now. We'll come back and have part 2 later. We'll see you next time.